Hi Natalie. So if you look at your score on page 12, here's my first thought for you. Let's see if you can slow down the introduction a little bit. It's a little bit fast, and what happens is you slow down when the choral entrance happens. The intro is very interesting because if you don't keep up some kind of a tempo on it and keep it moving, it tends to really drag. But I felt you took that a little bit too far this last time, so just keep that in check. The entrance for the altos and the tenors was fantastic. You were with them. They came in great. I was really happy with what we saw there. I thought it worked out really well. Do note though that you had Russ underneath you the whole time, so he was playing. I say for the clinicians, let's get Russ out of there because the choir parts need to be able to stand on their own, and that's going to be a little challenging for them, but it's time to do it. So moving on from that, we had a couple of issues that took place. I felt the first one was pick up to bar 23. The tenors were tentative on that entrance. They could use a little bit more support from you, and those offbeat entrances are always kind of weird. They just don't sit right, so you get that one, going into your next entrance. The cheater's way of fixing that one is to use the breath while looking at them, doing the Chamberlain sniff, so to speak. You can do it with an open mouth too. I don't know about you, but my nose is always stuffy. I can't do the Chamberlain sniff very often. So if I'm going into bar 23, let's start off actually. If I was looking at bar 22, I'd have a 1, 2, oh, do, mi, 1. There's my tenor coming in. I would think that the basses, as long as you give a kind of even just a quick glance, should be okay, although I don't trust our basses. Our basses are definitely, yet again, just like last year, our weakest section. All these years of tenor shortage, and nobody bothered to notice when it became the bass shortage, apparently. Your intonation of Ne Condon was really nice at 27. Yeah, the altos could be a little higher. They were your weak spot. Let's see, let's move on beyond the solo. Things got a bit mushy again at bar 79, and I think your primary reason for that was this is not a section we've gone over a lot. At least it doesn't feel like we've gone over this section a lot in our rehearsals. So we may need to just go back and reflect a little bit on what those pitches and those rhythms actually are and how they interlock with each other. I would say go ahead and pull out individual sections and make sure that we are set on what we need. Let the altos and the sopranos see where they sit in relationship to each other. Run soprano alto together. Also, run tenors by themselves. Runs bass. I would say run bass with somebody. Basses are a little bit fun right there, aren't they? They're so far ahead in the choral line that they're doing their own thing. It may be good for you to run the basses, the sopranos, just so you can see how those outer voices interlock, and start the basses at their entrance. Make sure that you take a look at your tenors and your altos in bar 83. Make sure that they're doing that lovely descent together, and that they're in tune and locked together, so you can separate them, pull them out, and just hit those individual pitches. The page turn caused trouble for people, and you know what? That's something that it shouldn't have, because I'm pretty sure I remember you telling them to keep an eye on that. And I think I even remember, making a comment too, saying, write it in the margin if you need to. So if they're still having a problem with that, you need to remind them of that, but that's not your fault. That's their fault for not being diligent, and they need to get that together. Let's see. Entrance at H could be, that little lift could be a little bit more clear in your hands. And then it will definitely help to run the amen section one more time, just to make sure that we get all those pitches together in the lower voices. Sopranos yesterday were a little bit pitchy, but there's a reason for that. I'm not going to name names, but we inherited my pitchy soprano from Tucson Masterworks Chorale. And she's causing us a little bit of issue in the soprano section. She's fine if she's neutralized out with other people, and if she feels that other people are really strong and have their part, then she tones down, which is why she wasn't a problem by the end of the year last year with TMC. But if she feels like there's not a strong section around her, she blasts. And I'm not sure at this point if it might be a good idea to just go ahead and tell her she's going too loud. It may be a good idea to remind the sopranos, you know what, we're doing this together. We have a couple voices standing out. We don't need to stand out. Try and see if you can match your neighbor's color and your neighbor's tone. Don't use the word volume. And that might help to produce the effect we're looking for to tone her down. We'll also have a couple more. Haley Butler wasn't there last night. A couple others as well. So keep that in mind too when you're looking through that. The altos I thought sounded quite nice, despite the fact that we were massively understaffed in altos yesterday. We did have 2 dropouts I know of due to a family emergency. Apparently 2 of our altos were related to each other, and a family member passed away tragically. So we've lost them. But we had a couple of people missing that really shouldn't have been missing. So it was a tough night for a lot of people. I would recommend for your future study that you if you can, take a voice pedagogy course. You have really good innate understanding of how the mechanisms work, but I would love for you to define a lot of what you're trying to do, because I get the feeling that you know what you want, you know what's healthy, and you know some terms, but you don't know exactly how all that interlocks together. And sometimes it feels like you might be using a term that you don't completely know the definition of. And that's fine, but I'd love to see if maybe you can expand on that a little bit. A voice pedagogy class would also really help you with working with younger girls if you want to, continue your career long term with Tucson Girls Course, because it gives you a chance to see how the voice grows and what the anatomy is of that. If you would like a textbook for a voice pedagogy course, I have a textbook from when I've taken it. I'd be happy to loan that out to you if you'd like to get some information on that, because you definitely have a strong understanding of the fact that that needs to be addressed, and I really appreciate that because so many conductors don't. So you're doing a great job by addressing it, by trying to use techniques from that. I just want you to have a better background as to a better foundation as to what's happening in those techniques when you say them out loud, because I get the feeling right now you're repeating things you're hearing Marcella saying, you're repeating things you're hearing Shower saying, or not hearing Shower saying, but it's not entirely based in your own knowledge background. So that being said, let me know if you want the book. Be happy to loan it out. I really like your presence with the choir. You're just really on top of it. You're really comfortable. You make them comfortable. You make them want to sing for you. You always approach it as if you are totally solid in your research. You know what you want to do, and I really like the way you come across. Do try to remember, once again, that they're not under the age of 10. Sometimes we still use lingo that is really great for elementary students, but might need to be advanced a little bit for adults. That's pretty much my only criticism in your rehearsal technique. As usual, Natalie, you did a fantastic job, and yeah, there were some spots where it fell apart a little bit. We just need to go over the pitches again. Be calm, be confident in it, because I know you've got it. You definitely have this together, and I mean, your professionalism is through the roof. So thanks so much for your hard work. It's definitely showing, and your talent is very obvious. So looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye.